hidden behind your Finnish disguise. I couldn't recognize me. So I had developed a technique, some kind of strategy. When I came out from my school in Boulevardi, I used to associate the words that I just learned to the landscape, to buildings, the harbor, a hotel, a statue, and I had all my vocabulary there. It was wonderful. The problem was that when I went back to Brussels, it completely disappeared. I lost my vocabulary. So yes, I'm joking again, this is a provocation, but it is true that the inaccessibility, the difficulty of the Finnish language inspired me. Because for the first time in Finland, I felt really a stranger. I couldn't communicate in any other way. A few people at that time spoke English, this is true, in Helsinki. But when I went inside Finland, inland, when I went to Joensuu in northern Karelia, there it was really another planet. And for the first time in my life, well, yes, I had been to Turkey, I had been to many other places, but just a few days, not for months. For the first time I felt what a man could feel without being able to speak any language. And if you add to this the fact that my character is also without memory, he's lost his memory, his past. This is roughly what happened, and Koskenkorva helped a lot in the process.
HIV/AIDS is an extremely dangerous disease which is spreading throughout the world, but scientists are working very hard to find a cure. The English language is also spreading throughout the world, and I'm wondering, is there a cure?
Europanto is the antidote. It will kill English sooner or later. If you think of English today, you would say it is one language, but you quickly understand it isn't. We have some kind of European English back in Europe. You have a different brand of English here. It might be superficial pronunciation differences here, but in many other places it is becoming another language. Think of India, for example. And in Brussels, in the European Union headquarters, we often use English as a communication language. We have meetings where we are from different nationalities and languages, and we speak English to understand each other. And it is there that sometimes the English ask for the interpreter. This is the proof that we are taking English away from at least the UK, or that in any case English is transforming into many different varieties. In the future, who knows, there might be as many varieties of English as there are of Latin today, meaning of languages that will come out from English. This I cannot tell. But why be worried about this, and why be scared? It is a new language frontier that we are crossing. English is the first language in our history that is spoken more by foreigners than by natives. This will inevitably have an influence on the language.
Do you think that the European Union would consider your invention of Europendo, and would it assist in creating a more cohesive Europe?
I'm not sure. I told Mr. Barroso, but he told me he's not interested. Actually, Europanto remains a provocation, and I don't believe in neutral artificial languages. Think of the best known of these languages, Esperanto. Well, they say that Esperanto is a neutral language and a universal one. How can a language be neutral? It is like it would be like imagining a neutral political party. A language belongs always to someone, to something, to some culture. And actually, Esperanto does belong to a very specific culture that has now disappeared, but that was the language, that was the culture of the Jewish diaspora of Central Europe, and that language had a meaning for those times. It was meant to be the language of the small nations that were freed from the ancient empires. So it deserved an ideal. It was a noble ideal, in fact, but it was not neutral. Nothing in languages is neutral. The way forward to the development of a true awareness, of a true European awareness, is not a common language. It is the spreading of our languages and the condition of multilingualism. Actually, we think of multilingualism as something abstract and far away from reality. We do not imagine that all Europeans would speak 23 languages. This would be nonsense. But we can honestly and reasonably imagine that Europeans can speak 2 or 3 languages together with their own, and that when they are confronted with another language, when they live on a border or in a big city, it will be inevitable to learn another language, to share with someone else another language. To this regard, I often make the example of my country, Italy. In Italy, we speak Italian, but as I told you, we also speak dialects, to the point that in 1861, when we were politically unified, only 5% of Italians could speak standard Italian. The rest spoke dialect or regional languages. Still today, when I meet an Italian that speaks a dialect I cannot understand, nonetheless, I feel we are both Italian. I feel he is as Italian as I am. I recognize we have a common ground. This should be Europe. I will never be able to understand a Lithuanian or a Latvian, but I will feel we have something in common. We belong to the same thing. And this is all the point of multilingualism and language learning and this strategy we have.
I'll pass the mic back to Lina, and thank you so much, Diego. And Lina will
just to thank you again, Literatex Publishing, and of course Diego Marani. And there will be a chance to buy now the translations of the 2 books that Diego Marani has been launching. No?
I just want to say one thing I forgot to say, that from Anitra's point of view, it's very important we should say that the 2 novels are translated by Judith Landry. They're beautifully translated, and she won a number of prizes and was shortlisted for several others. So we want her to be a very visible translator for all the fantastic work she did in bringing Diego's book to us in English.
Just want to add very, very quickly how grateful I am to Diego that after what he said about language learning, I expect so many will enroll to our language courses because you will have another life, an Italian life. And thanks again, and join us for, as we say, a glass of wine and some dishes. And in fact, would ask you a small favor to help us stacking the chairs on the side so we have a bit more space. Thanks a lot. Thank you.